Now we come to the practical issues. We adopt a 5-step process in our implementation. Step 1 is to determine the intended learning outcomes for each lesson. Note that we are talking about the lessons rather than the whole course because in order to design the teaching methods, we need to be more specific. Next, in step 2, we design the teaching methods as explained above. Step 3, based on these teaching methods, we proceed to actually prepare the video lectures. The other pre-task reading materials, if applicable, and most importantly, the in-class activities to be conducted in the lessons. It is important to recognize that although flipped classroom is a kind of blend learning using technology with face-to-face teaching, the real benefits of flipped classroom are in the active learning activities rather than the fantastic technologies, although these technologies can be very helpful. Step 4 is the actual class delivery, which includes pre-task and teaching lessons. And finally, after the class delivery, it is important for the teacher or the teachers to sit down together to evaluate the effectiveness and reflect on the improvements required. This is also important, especially for first-time flippers, because different people have different ways of flipping. And although we know the general directions of what we should do, there are still a lot of practical issues that vary across different contexts and that we can never predict at the outset. So we need to reflect and discuss constantly. So here are what we have actually done in our study. We mainly used video lectures as pre-tasks. The lectures are broken down into small segments of video clips, each usually below 10 minutes, in order not to exceed the attention span of the students. We present and explain theories and examples as well as demonstrations of software using screencast. So all these correspond to the lower level learning outcomes. In the teaching sessions, we let the students actually work on the computers to complete some lab exercises or do some group discussions or presentations to show how they actually use the technologies in their teaching. There are also mini lectures, Q&As, and sometimes polling, which aims to collect instant feedback from the students. And for the technical tools, we use both Windows and Mac computer to prepare our course. We use PowerPoint and Keynote to do slide narrations, which can be converted to video format. We use open broadcast software and QuickTime for screencast. And then Movie Maker and iMovie for video editing. We also use Schoology, a course management system like Moodle, to host the course materials for students to access at home. The videos are uploaded to YouTube and linked from Schoology. We also use other tools such as Socrative, which is an online polling tool, Poplet for making mind maps, and Google Form for collecting more detailed instant feedbacks and for students to submit anonymous feedbacks to their peers. Finally, we present some research findings from the data collected during the study. During the study, we made classroom observations, we administered a questionnaire, and we also interviewed some students to learn about their perceptions, attitudes, learning behavior, or feedbacks on the flipped classroom. To put it simple, we have gained some initial successes in our trial. We find that the students engage deeply in classroom activities. even we asked them to take a break in the middle of the lesson, they simply stayed in their seats and kept working. There were a lot of group dynamics too. They helped their peers once they successfully solved a problem, and they made fun of one another when their peers made some silly mistakes. The students also reflected that they had better understanding of content. They liked the lab exercises very much, and the video lectures were convenient for their learning because they could pause and repeat the lectures as they need. But there were also some key challenges encountered. Some students did not watch the video lectures. This is actually an old problem reported by many other researchers. And for our case, we find that the students did not have time to watch all the video lectures, mainly because of the very tightly packed schedule of the summer semester, and they had full-time jobs during the day. But we also found that, at least in the case of some students, they were not motivated to take ownership of their learning. They were more used to the traditional approach in which they learn passively by listening to the teachers, without giving any feedbacks. They may not feel as comfortable in the new approach because now they are requested to actively involve themselves in the learning. So what should we do? First of all, we think constructive alignment is very crucial and should be further emphasized by ensuring that not only the teachers but also the students know how the teaching methods and assessments are related to the intended learning outcomes. For the same reason, the in-class activities should form part of the formal assessment that counts towards the final grade of the course. And second, we should recognize that both students and teachers need time to switch from a teacher-centered pedagogy to a student-centered pedagogy. They need time to get used to the new approach. We may not do it right in the first time, but it is important to constantly evaluate and reflect on the effectiveness and look for improvement opportunities. Third, we shall ask the students to submit something as they complete the pre-task, and we shall allow more flexibility in the format of their submissions. So for example, we can ask the students to answer a question based on what they learned from the video lectures. They can submit the answer by writing, but they should also be allowed to draw a picture, make an audio recording, or make a short video, etc. to do that. This not only motivates the students, but also help to cater the diverse learning styles of students because different students learn better in different ways. And for similar reasons, the pre-task materials should be provided in multiple formats in parallel if possible. So for example, if in addition to video lectures, if the students prefer to read pre-readings instead to achieve the same learning outcomes, they should be pointed to the corresponding readings to do so. And finally, the teachers should spend time talking to the groups one by one during the class activities to provide instant help and feedbacks as needed. So we have learned a lot in this study. Certainly, we need to try it a few more times and do further research. This is what we are doing now, and we look forward to reporting more of our results in the future. Thank you for watching.